Hey yo, and welcome back to the letter. We're here as Ashton. We're finally out of Rebecca's chapter. We're a hot Asian dude who's also a detective, and our boss is telling us basically that we're off our case, which is the worst thing you can tell a detective. It's the worst. Putting his life on the line to solve the mystery, and they're like, bye. So mean. Well, let's continue and see what happens next if we learn anything. And I want to see him experience the ghost lady and how he rationalizes it. Because, like, how do you rationalize a spooky ghost demon, fleshy, cut up lady? How? The reasoning is odd in itself. No one joins this line of work without knowing the dangers of it.
Don't I get a second chance?
No one gets second chances in this life. It's one and done. Just you gotta hope for the best on the first try. First try.
You said it yourself. I'm a good detective. It'll just be a matter of time before we can close this.
It doesn't matter what I think, Frey. You're off the case, and that's final. I expect all related files and documents on my desk by Monday morning.
Monday morning.
And don't even try to go touch anything. I know how hard-headed and determined you are.
Don't predict me.
Chief, please. A few more weeks. I'll have the proper evidence left on your desk by then. I swear it won't take longer than that.
Fred, it's too late, boy. I've already informed the other officers. You aren't to be allowed access until you've been given a new assignment. Hell, just keep out of the precinct, Frey. Take the weekend off.
Seriously, Chief, is this about last night? If this is about me being at that party, I have a good reason for...
You were at the party.
Oh, he didn't even know. You outed yourself. In his wary tone, the sudden careful note in his voice, slowly a frown forms in my face. My eyebrows knitting together in confusion. Much as I hate to say this about my own boss, there's also suspicion in it. Hard not to think of it that way, seeing how he acted around Hannah Wright last night. Is he worried? Why should he be? Everyone who's anyone was invited. I didn't doubt for a second why he received an invite, even if his presence was questionable. There's something wrong, and I've unintentionally walked into it. All I have is this sneaking suspicion, but when one looks at this from a different angle, put everything together, why the hell I've been taken off this case might be for the same reason he was there in the first place. Fuck.
Yes, Chief, I was. For a good reason. What were you doing there? I know we don't have a strict rule against attending functions, but that was...
He coughs, and it almost sounds like he's choking on his own excuses? Lies? I don't want to accuse him of anything yet. He's someone I've respected since I joined LPD, even with his bizarre sense of humor and tendency to procrastinate. It's kind of hard to read so seriously right now because I just finished recording some stuff for Patreon, and it's a very goofy porn game. So it's just like a lot of like stupid, so it's hard to like be serious right now. He's obviously competent enough to get the job done. He wouldn't be chief inspector of Luxembourg Police if he wasn't. He wouldn't last years in service without some track record backing him. Unless that, too, is a fluke. And what's backing him is not something, but someone. Oh. Oh, shit. Fucking hell. Fucking shit. Are you gonna just use all the different combinations of curse words?
Chief Harvey, about last night with the...
Why does it matter, Frey? This isn't about that.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I'll recite the whole damn oath we've taken upon being sworn into service if I can. But at this point, it seems too late to remind him of that. He's probably already moved from serving and protecting people to serving and protecting his own interests. Damn it. I suspected the upper brass of this, even the lower ranked subordinates in the force, but from my own boss? Shit. No wonder that leak didn't lead anywhere. Someone closer might have been pulling the strings. I might have been set up to fail long before the fucking case had been assigned to me. But I don't want to just give this up. I don't want to believe I've wasted an entire year for this. I don't want this to be the kind of news to tell Professor Clark after all those promises I've given the man.
I just want to know, sir, at the party, with Luke and Hannah Wright, you were...
Monday, Detective Inspector. First thing in the morning.
What you hiding? What you hiding?
Every copy of the files you have, I want to see it all on my table, understood?
You're hiding something. And you're a part of it. And you knew I was close, so you want to shred the evidence.
This isn't...
Frey, am I understood?
Yeah, but you're not answering my question. What else can I do other than smile and nod? With my own superior expecting an answer, using that tone, brushing my questions off as easy as discarding a dead body.
Yes.
I mean, discarding a dead body isn't that easy. There's a lot that goes into it. I know because of forensic files. My mom watches a lot of forensic files.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you obedient little dog. He cuts the line as soon as the words are out. You're off the case, Frey. Just like that. Funny why this still caught me off guard. I've discovered years ago how different the actual thing is. How far from reality everything I've believed in as a dreamy-eyed kid. There's no high-speed pursuit every day, no thrilling gunfights, no exciting cases every step of the way. Only paperwork, lots of red tape, and dealing with politics and bureaucracy. I've set out to change things. Hope it'll make things better for the people I care about. It ended up changing me instead. Serves me right for being too idealistic, I guess. This is probably the universe telling me that it's better to remain the skeptic I really am. Now here I am, standing useless. Can't even do anything but grit my teeth and kick the wall. The bastard didn't even acknowledge my response.
What did the poor wall ever do to you?
It figures Rebecca would be the one to find me in this embarrassing state. Honestly, I don't like it when she sees me like this, which seems to happen a lot, regardless of what I am.
Rebecca, now's not a good time.
The concern I expect from her when I turn isn't there, however. Instead, she just looks, well, the storm I left brewing last night, it's right there on her face, ready to be unleashed.
When is it ever a good time for you? You're always so busy with everything now.
Honey, I just got fired. Can you just chill out?
Now I find you here, sneaking out without even bothering with a proper goodbye. Not even a word. Really, I'm starting to think you're just keeping me around for my couch and my cooking.
Ah, you don't look like you cook very well.
Becca, it's not what you're thinking. I wasn't planning on sneaking out. I was going to say goodbye. I just had to take this call. Although, I'm not gonna lie, couch is great. 10 out of 10. Would sleep again.
Haha.
Stop it with the jokes, Ashton. I'm not in the mood.
Her bitterness is not lost on me. But at this point, our friendship in our lives, how does she still expect me to answer that? What am I supposed to tell her now?
Are you still mad about last night?
Just be honest. You got fired. Tell her that. And then she'll, like, completely forget about everything else. She'll be like, oh, you poor baby. She merely raises an eyebrow at me, which, to be honest, is all the response I need. Seeing her like this makes me believe those things Z-Man says, the part where Rebecca scares him, sometimes. I've certainly seen this more than once already. But the familiarity of it doesn't really take away from the downhill turn this conversation's starting to take. Only an awkward cough serves as a way to stall.
Okay, of course you're still mad. But whatever happened last night, I really am sorry.
You can't
I'll apologize as many times as you want.
You can't apologize if you don't know what you're apologizing for. But whatever happened last night, I'm sorry. No, that doesn't count as an apology.
If you want, I'd even kneel or something.
Ashton, an apology is nice and all, but that's not what I wanted to hear from you today.
Alright, fine, okay. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I don't know. I've honestly lost track of it by your third trip to the buffet table.
I wasn't... The drive up there took a bit. Can you blame me if I wanted to grab some appetizers?
Oh, come on, Ash! For the whole evening? For the whole party?
I mean, he said he was there for work. You're just butthurt that he doesn't want to, like, you know, kiss you.
Please don't tell me that's all you did, because I've never known you as someone who pigs out. You even took great lengths to avoid me. Should I also mention how you ignored Zach? Sometimes I get the feeling you don't want to be seen with us in public. Some friendship, huh?
You know it's not like that. It's never going to be like that, Becca.
I'll ask this again. Just what were you up to during the party? What were you doing that you couldn't even take 2 seconds to make time for your friends?
I couldn't even look her in the eye. It wasn't that I wanted to avoid them. I did it to keep Zach safe, to keep Rebecca safe. Just in case. Client or family friend, it was still a party hosted by a person of interest. By a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife to get what he wanted. Oh? But then Chief showed up. Hannah Wright happened, and Luke Wright just can't be bothered to die peacefully somewhere. All of a sudden, none of my original reasons mattered. If I was found out, right then and there, hell, if Zach and Rebecca's connection with me was found out, who knows what might have happened. I said that sentence correctly. But Rebecca doesn't understand that. Doesn't understand what I can and can't say to keep them from harm. Them knowing... your logic is flawed. It's all in her eyes, in the tight line of her lips, and her furrowed brows. The hurt. This day is just off to a wonderful start. First McCase, now Becca. How do I even go about this? Just tell her something. It doesn't have to be everything. Obviously, I couldn't just say, hey, Becca, you know the Wrights? They're suspected to be ringleaders of a crime syndicate and shit like that. Protocol or otherwise, there are so many things I'm not allowed to tell the others. Even if I'm able to share information with civilians, knowing anything could very well put them in danger. You're taking this way too seriously, my dude. It's why I keep it vague, obscure the facts, or, when push comes to shove, stretch the truth and lie through my teeth. It's a necessity I've grown to deal with. It has already become part of me, no matter how much I loathe doing it.
I mentioned it, didn't I? I was there on behalf of someone else. I was on business, Becca. I wasn't there to have a good time.
She doesn't look convinced at all. Although she is the very picture of someone who is at least willing to listen. Her glare effectively takes a good 20 off my current years. I feel like a kid again, being reprimanded by my junior high teacher for sleeping in class. But getting away with that is easier than with this one. It's a thing with someone you've been friends with for so long. They're the ones who know you inside and out. Good grades wouldn't be enough for Rebecca to let this whole thing slide.
You couldn't even spare a single second to mingle.
What was I supposed to say? Hi, fancy meeting you here. Would you like to dance? By the way, those appetizers were really good. You should try some. Like that.
She wanted to dance with you, you buffoon.
I've got a boss guy breathing down my neck. I don't exactly have the luxury of doing as I please.
This much is true, my reason for being at the party too. However, Chief's presence last night made a lot of things difficult. Approaching them was out of the question when there was someone watching. A person who knew the reason why I was there. It turned out to be a good call on my part. But for someone who is already angry beyond reason, everything will only sound like an excuse.
Cut the shite. I saw you stuffing your face with the deviled eggs, while your own boss is off on the other side of the room. You didn't even exchange a word or a glance with him either. In fact, I think you're also avoiding the man. Just say you don't want to talk about it instead of lying to my face.
Ooh, she mad. I do feel guilty. Still, We've already been down this road. This is something I've done repeatedly in the past. Something she's heard from me more times than all of my fingers could count. Did you use your toes too? Something I'll just have to get over with at this moment.
I'm sorry, you know that, Becca. I really, really am. I wouldn't do this shit if I didn't have a good reason to.
And you know that I don't like you lying to me! If you can't tell the truth, just don't say anything and shut your gob! I swear, Ashton Frey, you are just so dense! I'm so angry. I can't even bear to look at you right now because I swear I'll knock you right off your block!
Oh, I think we chose the wrong choice. Unless, you know, we're trying... Because I think their relationships matter for their survival later.
I mean, what good reason could you have to act like an antisocial asshole? The only time you did talk to me was to spout some vague nonsense about Luke. What was that all about? Were you somehow expecting me to just accept everything as it is?
You really shouldn't go near that man, Becca.
Why? Because you don't trust him? I wonder if you actually trust anyone. Aside from the three of us, Zach, Isabella, and myself, do you even have any other friends?
That's rude, bitch.
If you're perfectly fine with that, then go ahead. No one is stopping you. But don't expect me to share the same views. I can have a life of my own. Friends that I don't necessarily share with you. I'm an adult, Ashton, and I can make my own bloody decisions. I sure as hell can choose the people I want to let into my life.
Now she's gonna let him in her life for spite. Of course she's allowed to do as she pleases. I never mentioned she couldn't. As us growing up together doesn't mean it always has to be just the two of us. It's a dumb idea to believe in, when nothing ever remains constant. Things will inevitably change through the years. She'll make friends with other people outside of our little circle. I'm just as free to form relationships with other people. Like Isabella. But why of all people did it have to be him? Why does it have to be Luke Wright? That guy is nothing but trouble. How can she defend a guy like that? She's already calling him Luke, for Pete's sake.
I trust Zach, I trust Isabella, and I trust you, Rebecca. So why can't you trust me on this? You need to stay away from that man. Because he's... I really wish I could tell you.
That was... What was that saying Isabella mentioned before? A liar is a brother of a thief? People who will look at me now probably say I'm a hair's breadth away from being a criminal. Z-Man said something like that once, a few years into our relationship. I laughed it off back then, but now, they're probably right. Little by little, I'm becoming the very kind of person I hate. How ironic. The silence afterward brings an even heavier air between us. Something that Rebecca thankfully doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
The situation, already awkward as it is, dragging this out will only make it more... what? Difficult? Messed up? As if it isn't already?
Back to your case again?
I don't really have to. I have no case. As far as the job is concerned, I have the weekend off until I have to report to the chief on Monday. Although I don't want to just throw in the towel on this, orders are orders. This isn't like the movies. I don't get to say, fuck off, throw my gun and badge at him, become some vigilante, save the day, and get my job back. I'd rather get my ass thrown in jail than any of that. But it's also not in my nature to sit down and do nothing. It'll drive me crazy if I just idle about. Besides, someone who has to know about this whole Luke Wright thing. Besides, there's someone who has to know about this whole Luke Wright thing.
Yeah, I need to go talk to Professor Clark. And there's something else I need to look into.
That other matter she mentioned last night specifically. Things, even the news, have been blasting about the general populace lately. Evening, afternoon, morning, all deaths with the same modus, blamed on a single serial killer. Or is it still the case?
Found dead in the early hours of the morning today. The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxborn police.
Weird. We're grasping at straws as far as these murders are concerned. In the first place, I'm not even the one heading this investigation, yet look at me, treating it as if it's another high-profile case on my shoulders. How sad is that? Although all three of my friends have mentioned seeing something strange, I don't want to go into that line of thinking for now. Not yet. Not until I've exhausted every logical argument I could throw at it. To be honest, though, I don't know how to take all of this anymore. But I've already given Isabella my word. It'd bother me more if I didn't follow up on a promise I made to her. And after Rebecca's claims last night, there won't be enough sarcasm in the world if what my friends have been telling me is true. I can already hear Isabella's laughter, in fact.
Figures. What else can it be?
It's not another case. It's something else. That issue Isabella mentioned yesterday morning. I'm sure you remember. You were there.
Well, at least you're not neglecting all your friends.
Ooh! Burn.
Becca, I promised her I'll...
She doesn't wait for me to finish. With a roll of her eyes, she turns around and shuts the door in my face. I have no idea what I've said this time, but
I probably deserve that.
we'll just have to fix this some other time. By then, her temper is sure to have cooled off significantly. Hopefully. For now, I can't laze around. I've got to attend to things that matter more. Professor Clark first, deliver the bad news. Then that issue with BRC and Isabella. Maybe I'll also drop by Zach's. Check on him, hear what he has to say. He's also read that damn letter. I might as well, while I'm here playing a paranormal detective. Or is it supernatural? I can't remember. Whatever, it won't hurt anyone if I tried to get to the bottom of this. If nothing comes to this, good. Everyone can shut up about this stupid curse, and we can finally get back on track with our lives. On to more important stuff. If there is something.
Are you two done?
There's a moment of confusion when I don't see her familiar ponytail about, only to find her standing behind the door to her apartment seconds later. Isabella holds it open, though only slightly, as if to hide from anyone who might happen to pass by. It's early, and on a lazy weekend, I doubt anyone would. But from the gap and what little light there is behind her, I could make out the appearance of someone who has just clearly gotten off from bed. Hair in a complete disarray, eyes still heavy with sleep, and a small pout on her lips. She hasn't even gotten out of her pajamas. I look away before my senses of decorum kicks in. What's decorum? We might be friends. I'll even dare say we've grown closer over the years, but that doesn't extend beyond the bounds of propriety. Christ, even Rebecca never greets early visitors in her sleep clothes. Though maybe it's our fault why she's up this early. Still, heat makes a slow crawl up my neck, one that quickly downplay with a solid cough.
Isabella, you're up early.
You're so obvious. Lame.
No, I'm not. I'm usually up at this hour. You're the one that usually sucks at getting up early.
Says the person who looks like she's just fallen out of bed.
Instead of the usual quip, she simply averts her gaze at some point beside her, and although it only flashes briefly across her face, an expression of hurt flickers in her eyes. She disappears the second she turns her attention back to me, but that moment has sent a worried twinge in my stomach. I've seen it on her plenty of times before, just never in a matter that unsettles. It feels, I don't know, off this time? I didn't say anything wrong, did I?
Hey, are you...
Anyway, was that Becca with you? You both sound like Mama and Papa when they fight. You're awfully loud. If we get another memo from the landlady, I'm asking the guard to ban you from ever entering this place.
Me? Becca's the one almost shouting.
Yeah, well, she lives here. You don't. You have no excuse. You're the suspicious-looking person.
Thanks. Glad at least one person appreciates how I pretty up this place.
Don't flatter yourself. This place would be so much better without having to see your face every few days.
Rude. She follows it up with another pout. But her ruffled appearance, particularly how puffy her eyes are, I noticed just now, takes away from the intimidating effect she's trying to show. Really, right now, she looks more like an angry puppy. I might have laughed had I not given me another nagging sense of something is definitely wrong with her. What? Has she been crying earlier? That is worrying. She rarely does that. The only time it happened, the one time I've ever seen her genuinely tear up over something. I think it was after the Devlin Court, the night at the bridge. I want to ask. She seems determined to keep it to herself, though.
Belle, did something?
About yesterday, Ash. The things we talked about. Do you think we can take a look at it today?
We? I never said you're coming with me. Don't worry, I didn't forget about it. You'll be the first to know if I find anything.
No, I want to go with you. I'll be ready in a few. This won't take long.
Isabella, you really don't have to. I can handle it on my own. You'll just...
I won't get in the way, I promise. Besides, maybe I can help.
2 eyes are always better than 1 in a horror film.
You know, if there are files you want to check.
I don't like what she's implying. It's true, LPD is having a hard time with this, but taking Isabella with me, it's out of the question. Under normal circumstances...
You're the one who's going to get in trouble if you do that.
You said it yourself. You need information, and I can help you get that. And it's not like it matters anymore. I just don't want to stand around doing nothing today.
There it is again. A slight shift in her eyes, a mild crease forming between her eyebrows, and the mild slump in her shoulders while she crosses her arms tightly around herself. Like she's shielding herself from whatever painful thing there is out here. I have plenty of reasons why I should let her tag along. First and foremost, she's a civilian. Second, I have no concrete plan of action yet, and I'm going into this blind. No matter how I look at it, it's better for her to just wait so she won't dragged into... That sentence is weird. What might be another one of my failures. Her assumptions might be a dead end for all we know. But seeing that expression on her, hearing her speak those words out loud, in a desperate, almost pleading tone, I can't bring myself to say no. So I give in, because right there, I see myself in her. The person who doesn't want to stay idle, who doesn't want to think of the problems haunting him.
All right, 5 minutes.
What? You're timing me?
Well, I can't wait forever. I'm a very busy guy.
You just got a whole free weekend, sir.
4 minutes and 45 seconds, Isabella.
I hate you so much. I'm taking back what I said last week. You haven't changed at all.
4 minutes and 30 seconds, 29, 28. I'd hurry if I were you.
Ugh, you're awful! I hope you never get a girlfriend.
She slams the door right after, although my knuckles and mirth, and the lightness in it, linger. With her, those have always come easy somehow, even as it echoes, fade, and only the ghost of a smile remains.
It's not like I'm looking for anyone else.
Oh! Oh! Oh my god. I want to tell her. It's not because I can't. I won't. I'm the one who has chosen not to, until I fixed myself. Until I found myself underneath all that guilt and all those lies I've been telling all these years. Because no matter how heavy the weight of these feelings are, I'm not yet worthy of them. Of her. Until then, those little words and gestures are the only things I can offer. Minor stuff such as digging deeper into this thing with BRC in order to ease her worries. Lord, you don't decide if you're worthy, she does. I'm not even sure if this will give us anything. Unlike with the firm case, which I already have proper leads on, I'm just going by her words on this. Speaking of the Luxembourg firm case, I still have to inform the professor. The apprehension's there for sure. I've made a lot of promises to the man, and I would have preferred to tell them in person, not over the phone. But it's better for him to hear it from me rather than from a stranger. The railings offer a steady support while I wait for him to answer. I'd like to think I can do this without losing my nerve. My grip on the bar surely tightens, though, once the call connects.
Ashton,
Not running today, Professor?
He's usually at the park on late Saturday mornings. As long as it isn't raining, cats and dogs. Keeps him young and healthy, he says. And he's certainly fit for a man his age with a sedentary job.
oh no, not today.
He's definitely at the usual place, though. Cheers and laughter, likely from children and families, filter through the receiver. I tend to avoid the park precisely because of this. No use reminding myself of the could-haves when it's already over. Mom's doing well with her career. Dad's also fine the last time I visited. Although neither remarried, they're both content with their lives as it is. I'm probably the only one still caught up with it, hence my aversion. But all in all, it's still a pleasant sight to see, if you're the kind who takes joy in such sights like Professor Clyke does.
Just thought I'd enjoy the nice weather before it takes a turn for the norm again. To what do I owe the pleasure?
The guy certainly seems happy right now in any case. I almost don't want to break the news to him. But it's better to get this off quick as long as he doesn't shoot the messenger. He's not the type. However, long-held resentment can change a person. Even someone as mild-mannered as the professor.
I was hoping to talk to you about the case.
I suppose I'm just the downer today. As soon as I say those words, he pauses, and the lightness in his voice is gone in an instant. Every time we've talked about this in the past, he does that. He's probably trying to gauge the situation based on the tone of my voice. Perhaps it's good that I'm delivering the news through the phone. Who knows what he'll see in my face and my mannerisms. The art of keen observation? I'd learn it from the man. He probably already has an idea that this might be about from my manner of speaking alone.
You aren't in trouble, are you?
No. For a second I hesitate, looking at the dirt beneath my shoes. But I manage eventually, after a long, ragged draw of the breath. I pick up where I left off, though still fumbling with my words.
Well, I'm in a bit of trouble, if you can call it that.
Ashton,
He only assumes that tone when there's a reprimand at its heels.
But I'm not in danger or anything.
you've said that same excuse a million times before, Detective Inspector. That exhausted rasp in your voice tells a different story.
It's nothing like what you're thinking. Don't worry. I was taken off the Luxborn firm case.
I expect anger, frustration, maybe even disappointment. But all he gives me is a small sigh of relief.
Is that so? Well, at least you aren't in danger. Liz wouldn't be too happy if she heard you right now.
Liz. Aunt Liz. She insisted I call her his late wife. A sweet-tempered woman by so many standards. They were never blessed with kids and contented herself with simply managing their bakery. Oh, he goes to get bear claws because of his wife. Oh. But she's the closest I had to a mom in the few years I had known her. The professor, too. He's your mom, too? In the absence of my own parents in my life, the two filled the ache their divorce left in me.
Believe me, you'd get an earful. You don't want to show up at her doorstep looking like you haven't slept a wink either.
How many years has it been since? 9? 10? I still remember it vividly. Two men, primly dressed, briefcase in hand, and a stern look on each of their faces. They were already frequent visitors to the bakery for a few months. Something about the lot being a prime property in downtown Luxembourg. I think they were hoping to settle a deal with them, but neither of the couple gave in to their demands. Why should they? That quaint little shop was the dream for them. Aunt Liz sent me home early that night after the fruitless wait for the professor. The next morning, news of the bakery razed to the ground had spread across the whole city. One casualty. A few weeks later, the property was sold to Wright Enterprise. A fucking hotel now stands in its place. Of course, an investigation was launched after the incident. The name Luke Wright was briefly at the center of it. But with the lack of any evidence, the case ultimately went cold. Ah, this is your motivation. The professor hides it well. However, I can tell that he hates the man to this day. He might even blame Luke Wright for every tragedy that happens in the city. He never blamed me, though, when I was as equally responsible. I knew something's off the moment those men stepped inside the shop. I could have saved her that night. I could have prevented anything from happening to her. Called for help or whatever. I didn't. So it continues to eat at me until today. The guilt. The Luxembourg firm case would have been our chance at reopening that old case if we could prove Luke right of his crimes. Instead, we're back to square one. Yet, all he has for me are words of comfort. To think he can still be this concerned about me after my carelessness, after I've broken another promise a second time. People never cease to amaze me.
You might think that you have failed as an officer. Or maybe you think that you have failed me. And you know more than anyone. I would love to see that man taken down. If anyone deserves to be tried in high court, it's him. But I'm glad nothing's happened to you while you were working on this. That's what's most important. I'd hate to get news like that again.
Suddenly he stops. I imagine a thoughtful look flashing in his eyes as he thumbs the wedding band on his ring finger before he continues. Another habit. He has never removed it since that day. Has never thought once to remarry, even when he managed to continue with his life and return to some semblance of normalcy. This is his way of honoring her, I suppose. When he couldn't bring to justice the man responsible for his loss. Some people are just hard to forget.
It's not like another death. Yours or even his will bring back my wife.
Silence falls between us. I don't quite know what to say after that, really. Should I apologize? Show some sympathy? Going into this, I should have thought of something other than just breaking the news to him. As it is, it seems the only thing we can do is feel sorry for each other's misfortunes.
I apologize too for putting you up to this.
It's another occasion, another different circumstances. I might have accepted that, but
You didn't have to, but you've already done more than any officer who has investigated this. So don't worry about this, old man. I know your department's people all have their hands full recently too. What with the upsetting news we've been getting as of late. Deaths almost every day. I'm not entirely sure if that has anything to do with the other. It seems too big even for someone like him. But if this is that man's doing...
Professor, please.
maybe if things around me hadn't started going beyond my control, the letter, the mansion, the supposed curse behind those, I'd still be quick to blame it all on the bastard too. But as much as I want to keep holding him responsible for it, to add another to his list of sins, it might not be the case. Agreeing will only cut a deeper wound on the professor. I don't want him to keep clinging to this resentment for much longer. He's already gone through so many years of it. This kind of anger, the sort of that blinds people, despite his reassurances, the bitterness still seeps into every syllable he utters. It's one thing for me to act like this. It's painful to watch someone I've considered a second father to go down this path.
Please don't apologize. It's really all right. I can try to get it back on Monday when I meet with the chief. No promises, but if not, I'll make sure to keep an ear out for any news. Chief said he's passing it on to a senior officer. I should be able to catch a few tidbits every once in a while. But I swear I won't just give up on this. I'll do everything in my power to get Aunt Liz's case reopened for you.
Promises. Again, a bad habit at this point. I wish I could do more for him. All this time, I've prided myself over being the one to always know. Because suddenly, aside from Wright and the murders plaguing the city, I have ghosts and curses to worry about. Things that are completely out of my depth. Professor Clark's right in some way. Things would be so much easier if we just blamed Luke Wright for all of this. At least finding evidence would be a breeze, and I'd be all too happy to put him in a place he belongs. Although, if he was, in any way, also complicit to what's happening, legalities have my hands tied. But maybe that's my fault. I might have missed the ticket to closing the case once and for all last night, if only I had done a better job during the party. But then, the commotion. I mean, the commotion was probably the best time to go and look for stuff. There was Hunter Wright and Rebecca distracting me from my purposes, too. I'd include that. Gatecrasher as well, even though it's only for a moment. So many things have gone wrong last night that...
This isn't a prank! I saw something! See? This is why I didn't want to tell you guys. It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Last night at the party.
But it's real! What do you think I saw?
Are you starting to believe, Ashton?
It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
If I was Isabella, I would have broken up with all of my friends in that moment. That woman.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her.
Shit. If that was what Isabella had been warning us about, if it was the same thing Rebecca talked about last night, how many of these instances have I dismissed since reading the letter? How many have I ignored and passed off as some effect of fatigue or lack of sleep? Even last night, a hallucinogen lacing the food is the first thing I considered purely because that's what my training dictates. It's a mindset I've grown used to. It's the setting the gears in my head automatically takes in a situation like that. Of course, I'm not discounting all of that yet until I have enough information. Something to form a conclusion from. Proof is whatever for it may come. But thinking straight is impossible when all of a sudden all your beliefs are being upturned. In the most violent way possible at that. Jesus. I need a sounding board. I need to talk to someone, and Zach's the best person for that.
I have to go, Professor.
Oh, no problem. But what are you?
I don't have time to stop and listen to what the professor has to say as I cut the call. In the same second, Isabella emerges from her apartment, fully dressed and ready for the day. As usual, she greets me with a smile, but it falls just as fast when she catches a glimpse of my face. Shame. That would have been the first comforting thing I see today. It annoys me that I am partially responsible for the worried one replacing it. I must look close to a picture of someone choking or dying because there's nothing but concern in the first word she speaks.
Ash, are you... Do you need to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, no, I don't, okay? But we should hurry. Come on, don't forget to lock your door.
Seriously, you look like you're about to fall over. Are you alright? Because if you're planning to faint right here, I won't be able to carry you.
Yes, don't mind me. I just remembered some stuff from last night. I need to talk to Z-Man about this. Mind if we drop by his place first?
Shouldn't we call him? To let him know? It's still pretty early, though we'd probably arrive there around noon. Also, what do you mean about this? Is Zach...
He was also there when I opened the letter, right? He read it too. I'm sure he's fine, but it wouldn't hurt to check on him. To make sure. See if he'll say the same things you told me yesterday.
If he also has been seeing things, if it's also the same woman I saw last night.
I'm not saying there's really a curse yet, but we have to look at this from every possible angle. And don't worry, he won't mind. He's probably just watching TV right now. Let's go.
Okay, but speak up if you're not feeling well. You really look like you're choking on something. You didn't have to do this for me in the first place.
You know it's not as simple as that.
We head down to my car in record time. Not with a single second wasted to hit the road and arrive to Zach's place. If any one of us, other than Isabella, who knows anything about what's going on, who can help sort the muddled mess my mind is, it's gotta be him. He listened to her. Zach's the kind who prefers to laze around his apartment on weekends, especially after having a busy week like last one. The big guy's nowhere in sight, though, when I arrive in his unit. Figures, people don't seem to be where they should be when I need them. Looking around, I find no sign where he might have gone to. He usually leaves a note on his fridge if he's going out for the day, just in case someone drops by. As there isn't one, he probably just went out for a quick walk. I hope. Maybe he ran out of eggs or something and went to buy some? He is out of eggs, after all. It puts my running mind to rest for a while. He always has to have some, be it for an omelet or something he's baking.
Ash, should you be rummaging around? It's bad enough we went in here without asking for his permission.
Chill, I'm just looking.
Actually, I could also go for a fucking pie right now, but Zach's fridge is next to empty, save for a few leftovers. All I can do is sigh as I close it behind me.
If you see me take anything, feel free to call the police.
Isabella's quick to shoot me a sharp glare, and another chuckle slips from me, despite the unease in my stomach. But the cheer only lasts a mere few seconds, mostly because she hasn't been in the mood for any sort of friendly banter. It's the silence that's telling, and a quiet Isabella, it's usually the first recipe for an incoming shitstorm.
Do you always do this whenever you visit another person's house? Because I have a lot of questions about your methods.
Just with Zach.
I'm still worried for our friend, of course, and despite what's bothering Isabella, she's anxious too. She's been standing by the doorway for a few good minutes. Since we've entered Zach's place, in fact, doesn't seem to know what to do with herself. But as much as I want to put her at ease, her nervous tics are starting to get to me. The manner in which she makes herself smaller, the way she fidgets with her hands, clasping them one moment, unfurling in the next. It's distracting enough that I want to ask what's wrong. I doubt she'll give me a straight answer, though. And the best I can do is help her temper it.
You don't have to hang around the door. You might be here for a while. You can sit down.
She hesitates for a second, but eventually takes the empty seat next to Zach's study table.
Aren't we going to look for him?
Sure, we can, but where are we going to start? I can think of a few places he might be, but Luxburn's a big city. I don't want to miss the big guy if we leave, and...
I trail off, making vague gestures in general direction of Zach's bed. The messy bed suggests he was out in a hurry. He'd even bothered to fold the sheets. His cell phone's been left behind as well. Another odd thing when he has made it a habit to never leave it behind in case a client calls.
At least the locked door points to the fact that it wasn't a forced exit.
That seems to reassure her, but not so much. Understandable, anything might happen. In hindsight, I shouldn't have left Rebecca alone either. We'll have to check on her later. In the meantime, Zach, but with no other clue where he is and no other way to contact him, we have no choice but to wait. Sure, I could give the room another thorough run-through, but I don't think Zach would appreciate me upending his place. Isabella won't let me do that either. Besides, I haven't eaten anything yet. Isabella probably hasn't too. We did leave in a hurry. Might as well take a chance to cool down a bit, right? Anything to distract myself so that I don't just charge headfirst because of whatever paranoid scheme that's come to mind. Isabella was with me. I can't be reckless. Returning to the kitchen, the first thing I see is a bag of chips when I rifle through his cupboards. Yangs. Little sheep potato chips. After muttering a permission and an apology to its owner, won't hear, I grab it. Isabella doesn't miss shooting me another glare, but she doesn't really make an effort to stop me this time. She ignores my offer for food, though. So instead, I set myself on Zach's old couch and turn on the television. Isabella's silence may not be too heavy, but it sure as hell is awkward. The screen lights up right The screen lights up right as some awful noontime drama starts airing on Channel 9. Nothing like sitting in front of the TV with a mindless drone running in the background to waste away the time. And waste it away we do. The afternoon is hit. It's at least a few hours when the movement comes from the other side of the door and Zach's heavy treads break the monotonous drivel from the TV. The lock clicks, the knob turns, and slowly it swings open to reveal a very exhausted-looking Zach. What, did he run a marathon?
Sup, Z-Man?
Hey, Zach. Sorry we just barged in here. Ash was...
Relax. Z-Man gave me a copy of the key himself.
Light as my tone might be, his arrival eases the restless edge in me. Who knows what I would have done if something bad had happened to one of my friends. If another minute had gone by without him showing up, I might have resorted to unconventional methods.
Only after you broke the 13th one? I can't keep replacing them every time you think it'd be a good idea to break into my apartment. And stop calling me Z-Man!
I didn't break anything this time.
Ash, just because I gave you a key doesn't mean you can just stroll in here whenever you want to. And hey, is that my...
It's scary how the friendly banter and easy smile come naturally. I do it, even without thinking, and that speaks volumes of how comfortable I am around him. It's nice, isn't it? What makes me afraid of it, however, is the idea that a time might come where I might just do these without even meaning to and offend him in some way. The friendship we have might be closer than most I've shared with others. But there are boundaries you can't cross without the other's permission. Zach's been respectful of that so far, neither asking about my parents or what happened to them. Me? I bet he'd say, not so much. It's also this easy banter that makes me wish we could stay like this. No worries, no problems, just potato chips, and the debate on whether or not I deserve them. But as usual, something always cuts the moment, like this short.
Of course he eats all of it. You know, I was saving that for the weekend. Did you at least share some with Bella?
Don't worry about it. I'm good, Zach.
Really? But it's free food, you know? What was that you usually say? You don't say no to free food? What happened?
No, I'm just not hungry.
Her tone forces him to double take. Zach doesn't push it. The question is all too clear in his eyes when he glances my way, though. I really wish I could answer him. Despite my best efforts, Isabella's been unforthcoming as well. What I'm supposed to do? I can't just force her to speak, can I? She's not a criminal to be interrogated. She's a friend, for Pete's sake. It's a good thing Zach has a better handle on the situation than I. And soon enough, he changes the subject. Where it leads to isn't necessarily the better topic, however.
Aye. But if you want something, just say so. I've got a fully restocked pantry right here at your disposal. Still not a 5-star level thing, but for an empty stomach, it'd do.
But your fridge empty.
Just say the word.
Thanks, Zach. Maybe next time. Food is not really what we came here for. Ash, he's the one who...
She stumbles into one of her uncertain silences again, before glancing my way. There's a plea in there for me to take the lead on this, but where do we start? The mansion, the strange things we've been seeing, the letter. Even I am afraid of what he might say. I can't even believe I'm considering taking a deeper look into this thing in the first place. But here I am.
Please don't tell me something happened again.
No, nothing. None so far, and we're keeping it that way as much as possible.
Ash, it's not that easy. This isn't some...
We don't know that. Let me...
Sometimes I amaze myself how much I try for her. But what else can I offer her? I was the first one who brushed her off. We've all been giving our warnings that day, in that desperate pleading tone of hers, and I just stood there judging her. This is the least I can do, perhaps even to make up for all those other times I've hurt her.
Let me look at this first, okay? I agreed to help, but you've got to let me handle things from now on.
I already told you everything.
There must be something we're not seeing in this just yet. We'll sort this out, but no more silly ideas and running around on your own. You're making people worry more than necessary. Becca, especially.
So everything's fine?
No.
Depends on who you're asking. How are things with you? Anything odd?
Good, I guess. Admittedly, how things went down at the housewarming party last night threw me off a bit.
I'm not asking about that. Remember the letter thing Isabella's been yapping on about?
Don't use the word yapping.
I'm asking about that kind of odd.
As expected, Zach starts to look at me like I've grown a second head. Yeah, I would too if there were ever a universe where I was standing in front of myself. Because even as a child, I never believed in ghost stories. The Lucky Charms, the mystical objects from my mother, have often been stored away or given as paltry gifts to those who would appreciate them more.
Well, the dreams, they're a lot worse than usual. There's a woman now, ever since we saw that letter. I don't know if it's the same one Isabella talked about. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't. I really don't want to go back to sleep sometimes. Last night was the worst. Anyway, why are you asking about this?
Rose's death isn't just a coincidence, Zach. It may have something to do with... I may have...
Wait, stop right there for a sec, Bella. I thought you ain't buying this stuff, Ash. Just the other day, you said the exact same thing.
Granted, I haven't eliminated every single possibility here yet. But what else is there to do? What else is there to go off of from here? The worried look Zach shoots my way doesn't help one bit in helping me gather my thoughts either. When that's what I came here for. Somehow everyone's suddenly just so worried about me. It's not like I'm pulling this out of my ass.
I still don't, but even Rebecca, out of all people, claims there's something. Whatever this is, someone has got to look into it. Everything about this screams shady.
And along with Isabella's warnings, what's occurring around Zach, what's happening around Luxembourg since Isabella found the letter.
Have you two seen the news this morning?
Zach's puzzled expression is answer enough. Of course he hasn't. Another night, another nightmare. The guy most likely went out as soon as he got out of bed to shake the images off. The memories have never really left him. Isabella, though?
I haven't, actually. Mama called, and I was busy.
That could easily mean anything. Did her Kuya, her older brother, end up in jail again? She had to bail him out numerous times in the past, though all that did was piss her off, not sap out every ounce of her cheer in her. Or is it that the other brother, the younger one who keeps insisting that he'll quit school so that she could come home? That was 2 years ago, as far as I know. She already sorted that one out. It couldn't have been her father, right? With the mansion sale, she has earned enough to cover every bill for a while. It should. So what is it then?
No problem. It should be in the afternoon news as well.
Whatever's bugging her, I doubt it's something meant for casual discussion. Else she would have mentioned it sooner. Tucking my curiosity for later, I take the remote and begin cycling through the channels. A distraction, not a good one, I admit, but definitely better than leaving her to brood. Speaking of leaving, I am all out of time and we're gonna have to leave her to brood. It's getting so spicy, so juicy, the tea. Oh, my room is boiling. But that's all I have time for. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Hopefully it's a little more exciting. Hopefully Ash sees more spooky ghosts. It seems like the whole QuickTime events happen at the end of their chapters. It seems. But thank you guys all for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you know when I post. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.